How you do that, Dale? How you do that, Dale? And I ain't mad about it.
Yeah.
I am your man's Nic Rattlehead. Yeah, buddy. And behind this camera, somewhere out in California, watching over your boy, hopefully staying safe, being as cool as he is my buddy, my pal, my compadre, my amigo. My man's with the master plan, 100 grand, only you, me, and God knows how much I love this guy, man.
Yeah.
Tell him one more time, what's your name? Matt the Graff, and we are Aftershock Reviews, here to give you the best extreme music reviews. And today I am so excited because I get a chance to talk about a band that I've been listening to lately that hopefully I could put you on game on. And the name of this band is called Ancient Tome, and I present to you it's heavy as all get out. They're a heavy EP final tune. Now, they come out of Los Angeles, California, and I got put on to them through Transylvania Recordings because sometimes I just like to scour their freaking Bandcamp page and just see what is out there. And I do that with a lot of record labels that I love, like, $20 Spin. I'll do that a lot with Relapse and, Maggot Stomp and stuff like that. I love just going to other people's Bandcamps or just going into Bandcamp and being like, death metal, doom metal, and just see whatever pops up, right? And just have fun with it. That's part of the enjoyment for me, right? And Ancient Tome came across my radar when I saw their album cover, right? It's great. And I was automatically enthralled with the sheer weight and magnitude of their sound. Heavens to Megatroid. It's great. It's wonderful. But let's get into the track listing. Let's do that because Choleric opens us up, right? And we have this doomy, dreamy, sludgy, and kind of ethereal guitar riff that kind of opens us up and leads us into this track, right? And this is going to be a pattern that you're going to see throughout most of the track listing. Most of these tracks kind of follow this formula, right? But they all have their different ways of switching it up and making sure that it stays fresh and it doesn't feel really formulaic, right? And you'd be like, this is what you're going to do. And then you're going to have in the vocals, which it actually does happen. The vocals kind of start to accompany that wonderfully melodic guitar riff. And that's another thing that I like about this as well. The melodies of these tracks are so catchy and so well crafted, right? It shows very strong flashes of great songwriting. And this is why when it comes to EPs, I'm either really hot or really cold. Why? Because sometimes EPs can sound a little bit crappy. Let's just be honest with you, right? And they use that almost as a novelty to make it feel like, oh, we're really cool. No, these guys really feel like they put their best foot forward with the really clear but almost still cavernous production tone. It has a very strong hint of black metal in the way that it really sets its ambiance, in the way that it really sets the scenery for the listener, right? Really great. And then the vocalist. Can we talk about this vocalist really quickly? Because the vocalist has this very black metal approach to his vocals. Why? Because you can almost hear the phlegm as he's screaming. You can hear the phlegm in the back of his throat as he's screaming away, right? But it doesn't necessarily feel like it's coming from his chest or even from his throat, but it's from his diaphragm. It's just the spit and the phlegm get caught as the air is coming from his gut to the freaking listener. It's great. It's absolutely wonderful. And it sounds so maniacal. It sounds so fiendish, right? It's great. And it's almost very reminiscent as well to the vocalist from Wake as well, where it has a very ghastly approach. And because it's almost kind of slathered in reverb, it feels like it's coming from down the hall. Like the danger is nigh. It's impending. It's gonna happen to you. You're just sitting there waiting for it to really knock you off of your seat, right? But getting back into the instrumentation, getting back to the actual pattern of this track, right? This highly repetitive and melodic guitar riff is repeated until the percussion comes in and slams open the whole track, right? But the thing is, though, the riff never really picks up pace until maybe midway through the track, right? As we get this almost punkish D beat or stank beat, right? That accompanies the riff. But the riff, even though the percussion is saying, let's go, let's speed up, let's keep going, let's bring it up a couple of miles per hour, right? The riff says no. And it makes this really cool dichotomy, right? It's really great because it's like I normally don't hear stuff like that when it comes to Because we can call this a Death Doom album with a hint of black metal and a hint of stoner, right? That's kind of what this is. But to hear that kind of happen, where it's kind of like the rhythm is saying, let's go. The rhythm section is saying, let's go. The rhythm is like, hey, we got to pick it up. But the riff is saying, no, this is where we are. This is where we're going to stay. So it's really cool, right? And then it's almost if the percussion gives up and says, you know what? That's fine. You don't want to speed up. Tell you what, I'm going to meet you back where you are. And it slows all the way back down again. And to me, at least to my ears, it never, ever picks back up again. If anything, it doubles down on a sluggish pace, especially when you get into the next track, Sycophant. Because to put this in perspective, this EP is only 4 tracks long, right? 3 really, but 4 tracks long, right? And then on top of that, it only is around like 24, 25 minutes. But what they are able to accomplish in those 24 and 25 minutes is a good window, a good gateway into what Ancient Tome is. I demand, and if they are watching, I kind of have to be like dead end hip hop at this point. Ancient Tome, if you're watching, I need an LP now. Need one, because Sycophant says, no, we're gonna go slow. And the fact that it does that, and it does it at such a it's absolutely wonderful. And the thing is, yet and still, we have, and I know Matt likes putting the yet and still at the bottom. I'm starting to call you out on it too, man. I'm here, I'm watching you, right? But yet and still, right? Sycophant follows what happens on Choleric, right? We have the dreamy guitar, but now instead of trying to adjust the pace of the track, it almost becomes trance-inducing, creating a riff that kind of rocks back and forth with you while being smothering and all-encompassing and omnipresent and omnipotent. It's great, man. It is gargantuan in its size. It's mammoth size. It's great. And it's also, yet and still, not forsaking decent songwriting by having that highly melodic riff that is repeated and expanded upon. Like, it's like that stupid milk crate challenge. Follow me. Walk with me here. The milk crate challenge, especially when you kind of like look at the way that they assemble the staircase of milk crates, right? You have that base level. And what they do is with that base level, they say another row of milk crates, and then another one, and then another one, and then you get to the top, the climax, the plateau, so to speak, right? And that's the same thing here, because that melodic riff starts out, and then the next level, or the next row of building blocks are the vocals, and then the percussion. Then it climaxes midway through the track. It's really good. And then what happens, though, is the vocalist, or whoever this is, just comes up and kicks the row of crates from under you, and you just fall, and you are buried in a massive sound. It's absolutely wonderful, right? But as great as Sycophants is, the Amber Crutch might be my favorite track because it has the most malign riff off this EP. It's great. And it starts out with this really great down-tuned riff. It's just do-do-do-boo. And the vocalist comes in. It's absolutely great. It's not necessarily doing anything new in the way of Death Doom or songwriting or anything like that, but I think that there is still value, and bands are able to take things that are already kind of established and just make them good. Craft a good EP, craft a good set of songs, because that's what this is. And speaking of, on top of that, I want to also put in a side note as well. A lot of these songs don't have a cutoff point, so to speak. Each song blends into another, right? So what happens is it kind of makes the whole album feel interconnected, right? It doesn't feel like one thought, okay, pause, another one, pause, another one. Everything flows beautifully together. The transitions between the tracks are so seamless and effortless. It all feels like one song. It all feels like one idea. And it's, oh, dude, I really hope you guys check this out, because what happens after the Amber Crutch is actually, and I have to make sure I say the name of this track listing right, because it's a doozy, it's long. Check this out, follow me here. To come to the end, to a time of anxiety and fear. So clearly, Clearly, this is probably talking about our world health situation, right? This is talking about maybe the time of isolation that we're going to so far as lockdown is concerned and all the rest of that stuff, right? And when you look at the track title, it almost seems hopeful. Like, soon we're going to come to an end to this. Soon this is going to end and we're all going to be okay. But then you listen to the vocals, because keep in mind, things are bleeding from one track to another. So the Amber Crutch ends with like a lot of feedback and a lot of static buzzing and sirening off away in the background, right? Which also goes into the fact that this band knows actually how to layer their background. There's a very wonderful sense of depth to each one of these tracks that are present. It's great. But when we get to come to the end, to a time of anxiety and fear, what a track title. It's bleeding in with all of that static and feedback. And this hopeful title is almost like shot in the foot by the lyrical content. It only has one lyric. And he says, all the world will be your enemy. That's it. And when you really stop, at least when I try to dissect what's happening here, it really feels like they're saying, once we get out of this time, and we will, it won't be what you think it is. Like, everybody's going to have their own agenda. Everybody's going to be looking out for number one. Everybody's going to be not necessarily trying to look out for one another, but in it for themselves, right? The world government, your neighbors, your so-called friends, stuff like that. And with that type of ideology, you're going to find out that since they're not going to be there to be helping out each other or even helping you out, all of them will become your enemies to try to accomplish what you might want to accomplish. Like, so far as like maybe inner peace, outer peace, right? Trying to make sure you provide the best type of environment for your family or for yourself, right? Everybody's going to be in direct competition or direct opposition to that. All the world will be your enemy. Everybody's going to be in it for themselves. It's a very depressing, and it is a very dark way to end this very dark and heavy and heady and trance-inducing album, right? It's magnificent. It's absolutely magnificent. So far as an EP is concerned, this is not a hot take. I've been listening to this for, I'm sure probably iTunes is going to snitch on me at some point and probably be like, oh yeah, you listened to this around like 20 something times, which is I'm probably in the ballpark. And I say this to say, this probably is my favorite EP of this year. This is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And I highly, highly suggest that you guys check this out. The name of this is called Final Tome by Ancient Tome. You can actually go and pick this up on Transylvanian Recordings. We'll leave a link to their Bandcamp in the description below. Check them out. I know they have a name your price, monetary value so far as downloading the digital copy. But, even if you could just drop $1, if you could just do that, they would appreciate it. And truthfully, I would too. I'm actually going to buy the cassette tape, which is funny enough, probably going to be $6.66, like most of their tapes are. It's pretty dope. So check them out. Like, support your bands, man. Especially during this time, people are trying to get back on the road again. Go wear a mask, be vaccinated, go see them. You know what I mean? We have to support our bands because we don't know how long this is going to last. And I want to make sure that we are able to, A, enjoy our music, and B, the people who are giving us that enjoyment, the people who are giving us that escape, the people who are giving us that peace of mind in an uncertain time are taken care of and able to continue to provide that escape for us. Check this out, guys. Check this out. I am your man's Nic Rattlehead, and behind this camera somewhere out in California, hopefully watching over your boy, is my man's with the master plan, 100 grand, only you, me, and God knows how much I love this guy, man. Tell him one more time, what's your name? Matt the Graff. Matt the Graff. Wash your hands, support your bands. Peace. How you do that, girl? Yeah.